And speaking of our way of life here, this is the home of the man who started the whole thing. It is now one of our showplaces, a museum housing the treasures of 2 continents which he gathered when he built Whitehall. Henry Morrison Flagler announced to the world not too many years ago, "I shall build here a magnificent playground for the people of the nation." So he said, and so he did.
Well, there's one thing we can say about Henry Flagler. When he did things, he did them big. Enter Whitehall. Here to tell us more about Whitehall, which is now the Henry Flagler Museum, is the Public Affairs Director for the Henry Flagler Museum, Lauren Perry. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Whitehall is Henry Flagler's Palm Beach estate. It was built in 1902. It was actually a wedding present to his 3rd wife, Mary Lily. And they would travel down here together between January and March, basically establishing what we would say today is the Palm Beach season. It was right next door to Henry Flagler's hotels, the Hotel Royal Poinciana and the Breakers. So we are open to the public, and people can come in and take either a self-guided tour or a docent tour. And you can basically walk around the 1st and 2nd floor and see every single room that the Flaglers used. The house has been completely restored on the inside. I would say about 90% of the furnishings that were original to the Flaglers are actually still in the house. It's full of beautiful works of art, musical instruments, clothing, and then we do special exhibits that are focused on the Gilded Age and Palm Beach. So men like Henry Flagler at the turn of the century sort of saw themselves as caretakers for culture, and they were building houses just like Whitehall to really become something of a museum for future generations. They felt it was their responsibility, because they had the wealth and the capabilities to do so, to provide cultural arts to the masses. So when someone comes into Whitehall, you actually see how it was when they lived here. And just like we do today, the Flaglers would actually welcome the public into their home. And you're going to walk into the Grand Hall and you're going to see 7 different kinds of marble. You're going to see ceilings that have frescoes and gold leaf on the ceiling, furniture that looks like it's from castles in Europe. So they just took it on as a responsibility to bring the finest and share the amazing ability for Americans to have the same kind of culture that maybe our predecessors did in Europe. I mean, I would even say when you walk in, some of the rooms are going to remind you of the palaces in Europe. So we actually have rooms that look like rooms in Versailles in France, or castles in England. There's also a lot of Asian influence, because that was a very popular decorating trend at the turn of the century. And these were all types of historical ways for Americans to show that we were as sophisticated as the European cultures were before us.
Is that how you reconcile this grand estate with Henry Flagler's humble personality? Because this does not look humble, but you're saying that he did it as a responsibility.
Absolutely. And you also have to understand that he was one of the wealthiest men in the world at the time, being the co-founder of Standard Oil. And he did enjoy working with artisans, working with engineers, and coming up with ways to make everything new. So a lot of the techniques that are in the home are actually very architecturally significant, because they were using new technologies to build houses like this that maybe in Europe would have taken years and years and years. This house was built in under 2. This is the Grand Hall, which is the first room that you see upon entering Whitehall. And it was really designed to entertain guests. You enter through the large bronze doors and you walk into this 5,000 square foot reception hall. And it was meant to be the largest and grandest of any room of a Gilded Age private home. This is a late 19th century rosewood and gilt bronze Rococo style clock. It's made by Francois Link. The clock still runs, and it can be heard chiming on the quarter hour. The Flaglers use this room, the breakfast room, for more intimate meals. The ceiling is an example of how the architects and interior designers took inspiration from Europe, as it mimics a ceiling found in Warwick Castle in England. At the center of the courtyard at Whitehall is a copy of Giovanni di Bologna's Venus. It's modeled after an ancient statue that was commissioned by the Medici family for the Boboli Gardens in Florence. The chandeliers and sconces that you see in Whitehall are all original to the home. This one in the music room was made by Edward F. Caldwell, and it incorporates baccarat crystals. This marble bust is called Lady in the Veil. The veil is actually carved out of the marble. The ceiling in the South Hall is a wonderful example of the advancements in technology at the time, from the recessed lighting to the use of plaster to create this recessed look. At Whitehall, the Flaglers had all the modern conveniences in their master bedroom suite. The bathroom even has a telephone in it. So Henry Flagler was actually one of the founding fathers of Florida. He saw in Florida an opportunity to basically create a new destination. So he really was one of the first pioneers to come south all the way down here to South Florida and bring all of the people with him. He set up the hotel infrastructure. He set up the railroads to bring people down and deliver them to the front door of the Royal Poinciana. He had the vision to make sure there was water, there were schools, there was farms to feed all the people who were living here and working for him. So he was definitely one of the most important players in making Palm Beach America's first resort destination. So what I tell visitors to the Palm Beaches is that everything that you see and do in Florida is going to make a lot more sense if you start here at the Flagler Museum.